Most men think intimacy starts in the bedroom, but the truth is it begins long before you ever get there. And listen, folks, this is where many men get it wrong. They think attraction is about rushing, pushing, or trying to prove desire too quickly. But a woman does not open herself emotionally because a man is aggressive. She opens when she feels safe, seen, respected, and chosen without pressure. Maybe you have been close to a woman and felt the moment building, but you moved too fast. Maybe you kissed her without reading her comfort. Maybe you tried to create passion before creating trust. And then you wondered why she pulled back, went quiet, or stopped leaning into you. Here is the truth, my friend. A woman's body is not just skin. It carries memory, emotion, vulnerability, and signals most men never notice. The right touch in the right moment with patience and self-control can make her feel more connected than 100 empty compliments. Today I will show you the places where affection becomes deeper than technique. You will learn why the nape of her neck, the space behind her ear, her wrist, her collarbone, her lower back, and other overlooked places can awaken trust, closeness, and quiet desire when approached with maturity. Stay with me, because one of these signs will change the way you understand intimacy completely and may save you from ruining a powerful moment. Let's get into it. Number 1. Kiss her neck slowly. Let's be honest, folks. A woman can feel the difference between a man who is present and a man who is trying to take. That difference decides everything. The back of her neck, right under the hairline, is not just another place to kiss. It is vulnerable. She cannot see what you are doing there. She has to trust your intention, your pace, your control, and your respect. That is why this place carries so much emotional weight. When approached with care, it can make her feel protected, noticed, and chosen. When approached carelessly, it can make her pull away inside, even if she says nothing. Picture Martin, 51, a widowed architect from Portland, dating Susan, 47, a museum curator. They had been seeing each other for several months, and one evening they were standing in her kitchen after dinner, talking quietly while rain hit the windows. Susan turned away for a moment to pour tea, and Martin noticed the tension in her shoulders from a long week. Instead of rushing into something intense, he simply stepped closer, asked softly if she was okay. And when she leaned back toward him, he moved her hair aside and kissed the nape of her neck with calm restraint. No force, no performance, just presence. Susan did not feel pressured. She felt understood. That is the key, my friend. The kiss itself is not magic. The meaning behind it is, a slow kiss there says, I am paying attention. I am not here to rush you. I know this moment matters. And for many women, that kind of controlled affection feels far more powerful than a man trying to prove how much he wants her. This is where Stoic masculinity matters. A weak man is ruled by impulse. A grounded man is ruled by awareness. He reads her breathing, her posture, her comfort, her willingness to be close. He does not assume access just because the mood feels warm. He understands that intimacy without consent is not intimacy at all. It is pressure, and pressure destroys trust. So before you ever think about kissing her neck, ask yourself if the connection is there. Is she leaning into you? Is she relaxed? Has she welcomed closeness? Does the moment feel mutual? A mature man does not need to force certainty. He notices it, he waits for it, he respects it. And when the moment is right, slow down. Not in a theatrical way, not like you are performing some technique you learned online, but because patience communicates confidence. Move with calm, let the moment breathe. If she pulls away, you respect it immediately. If she relaxes, you continue with care. That restraint is what separates a man from a boy. Folks, a woman remembers how she felt around you, not just what you did. If she felt safe, seen and unrushed, that memory stays. If she felt pushed even slightly, that memory stays too. So do not treat her neck like a shortcut to desire. Treat it like a place where trust speaks through your behavior. The strongest attraction is not built by chasing a reaction. It is built by becoming the kind of man whose touch has discipline behind it. When she feels that discipline, She feels that you are not lost in hunger. You are present, aware, and steady. If you understand that real closeness starts with respect, write this below. I move slowly. Stay with me because the next lesson shows how a whisper near her ear can create more deep intimacy than any attempt to impress her. Number 2. Whisper behind her ear. Let's be clear, folks. The space behind a woman's ear is not a place for loudness, pressure, or performance. It is a private space. It belongs to whispers, quiet laughter, soft words, and moments where trust matters more than technique. If you approach it like a man trying to force a reaction, you miss the point completely. Most men think a whisper is about saying something clever. They try to sound smooth. They try to impress. They search for the perfect line, as if one sentence is going to unlock everything. My friend, that is not how real intimacy works. What matters is not only what you say, it is the calm behind your voice, the timing of the moment, and whether she already feels safe enough to let you close. Behind her ear is powerful because it is close to the senses. She can feel your presence before she even processes your words. Your breath, your tone, your patience, your restraint, all of it speaks. If your energy is rushed, she feels rushed. If your energy is calm, she can relax into the moment. That is why a grounded man does not use this kind of closeness carelessly. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That wisdom applies here more than most men understand. If you cannot control your own impulse, you cannot create safety for a woman. If your mind is racing, if you are trying to force the moment forward, she will feel that lack of control. But if you are steady, if you are present, if you can enjoy closeness without needing to rush past it, your calm becomes part of the attraction. A soft word near her ear can feel deeply intimate when it is earned. Not a cheap line, not something copied, something honest, something simple. "You look beautiful tonight. I like being close to you. I love how calm this feels." The power is in sincerity. A woman can tell when a man is speaking from presence or performing from hunger. And listen carefully, folks. You should never whisper something that pressures her, corners her, or makes her feel like she has to respond a certain way. That is not masculine. That is weak. A mature man gives her room. He lets the moment breathe. If she leans closer, he understands. If she pulls back, he respects it without ego. That is strength. The reason this works is because the ear is tied to emotional closeness. We whisper things we do not say to the whole room. Secrets, reassurance, tenderness, quiet truth. So when a woman lets you near that space, she is allowing a private kind of access. Treat it like a privilege. This is where Stoicism becomes practical. A Stoic man does not chase control over her response. He controls his own presence. He does not need to dominate the moment. He does not need to prove his desire. He creates an atmosphere where she can choose to soften because she feels respected. So when you are close enough to whisper behind her ear, slow your energy down. Speak less, mean more. Do not fill the space with nervous words. Let your voice carry calm, not pressure. Let her feel that you are not just near her body. You are attentive to her comfort. That kind of restraint is rare. And rare things are remembered. If you believe intimacy should feel safe before it feels intense, write this below. I speak softly. Keep watching because the next lesson shows why one small overlooked place can reveal whether you truly understand patience, respect, and emotional connection. Number 3. Honor her inner wrist. Let's slow this down, folks, because this is the place most men would never think about. Her inner wrist is small, quiet, and easy to overlook. It is not obvious like her lips, not dramatic like her neck, not charged in the way most men expect. And that is exactly why it matters. A woman notices the man who notices what other men rush past. The inner wrist carries a different kind of intimacy. The skin is soft there. The pulse is close. Her rhythm is right beneath your attention. When you hold her hand and gently bring her wrist near, you are not saying, "I want to take from you." You are saying, I am paying attention to the delicate places. I can be close without being greedy. Think about Robert, 56, a recently divorced engineer from North Carolina, dating Elena, 49, a librarian who had learned to guard herself after years of disappointment. They were sitting in a quiet corner of a jazz lounge, talking about old books, aging parents, and the strange relief of finding peace later in life. Elena reached across the table and touched Robert's hand while laughing. He did not grab. He did not turn the moment into pressure. He simply held her hand, paused, looked at her with calm warmth, and when she stayed there, he gently kissed the inside of her wrist. Elena went quiet, not because she felt uncomfortable, but because the gesture felt rare. It was tender. It was respectful. It told her he knew how to move slowly. That is the power here, my friend. A wrist kiss is not about lust. It is about reverence. It has the feeling of an old-world gesture, something almost forgotten. And in a time where so many men rush straight toward what they want, restraint can feel deeply attractive. It makes her feel that you are not just responding to her body, you are honoring her presence. But let me be clear, this only works when the moment is mutual. If she pulls her hand away, you let go. If her body tightens, you stop. If she seems uncertain, you do not push through the uncertainty. A mature man does not force tenderness. He earns it by reading the room and respecting what he reads. The Stoic lesson here is patience. A man who cannot slow down cannot be trusted with closeness. If every touch is just a bridge to the next touch, she will feel it. But if you can appreciate one small moment without needing to rush beyond it, she feels safer in your presence. That safety is what allows desire to deepen naturally. And folks, women remember the small gestures when those gestures feel sincere. She may forget the exact words you said that night. She may forget what you ordered or what music was playing, but she will remember the feeling of being treated with care. She will remember that you did not move like every man who wanted something. You moved like a man who understood value. Quiet attention can reach places loud confidence never touches, and she feels that difference. So honor her inner wrist with intention, not performance. Let it be slow. Let it be quiet. Let it say what loud words cannot. I see you. I respect your pace. I am present with you right now. That kind of touch does not demand, it invites. And the invitation is what makes it powerful. If you understand that the smallest gestures can create the deepest trust, write this below: I honor her. Stay with me because the next lesson moves closer to the heart, and it only works when she already feels safe in your presence. Number 4. Kiss her collarbone carefully. Let's be clear, folks. The hollow of her collarbone is not a place for careless hunger. It sits close to the heart, not just physically but symbolically. When you move near that area, you are entering a more intimate level of closeness, and that means one thing above everything else. She must already feel safe with you. This is where many men get it wrong. They think if a woman allows one moment of closeness, every next step is automatically open. No, my friend. A mature man does not assume. He reads. He feels the pace. He respects the atmosphere. He understands that desire grows best when it is not being chased like prey. A kiss near her collarbone can feel powerful because it carries both tenderness and tension. It is close enough to feel intimate, but still quiet enough to be respectful when done carefully. The key word is carefully. Not rushed, not rough, not greedy. Carefully, like you understand that her body is connected to memory, emotion, trust, and choice. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In this moment, that strength means control over your impulse. You cannot control how fast she opens up. You cannot demand that she responds the way you imagine. What you can control is your patience, your awareness, your restraint, and your respect. That is real masculine power, folks. Not forcing the moment forward, not trying to prove your desire, not letting your hunger lead while your wisdom follows behind. A Stoic man stays present enough to notice whether she is leaning in or pulling away. He knows the difference between permission and pressure. He does not turn closeness into conquest. When the moment is right, this kind of kiss says something without words. It says, "I see your softness. I am close, but I am not careless. I desire you, but I still respect your pace." That combination is rare. Many men can show desire. Fewer can show desire with discipline. And discipline is what makes a woman feel safe enough to relax instead of defend. It lets her feel that your strength is not a threat to her, but a shelter she can trust, especially when every other man seems too impatient to slow down. If she becomes tense, you stop. If she shifts away, you give space. If she stays close, breathes calmly, and welcomes the moment, you continue with the same care that got you there. The point is not to get a reaction. The point is to create trust. And trust is what makes intimacy deeper than technique. And folks, if these lessons are helping you understand women with more maturity, patience, and self-control, consider joining the channel as a member. Membership supports deeper teachings for men who want to build real confidence, not cheap tricks. If you want to become the kind of man who understands attraction without pressure and intimacy without losing control, this community was built for men like you. Remember this: her collarbone is not a shortcut, it is a signal. It shows whether you can approach closeness with reverence instead of ego. If you treat that moment with care, she feels more than attraction. She feels chosen. She feels respected. She feels that your presence has control behind it. That is what separates a man who only wants access from a man who earns trust. And in a woman's memory, that difference lasts. If you believe desire should be guided by respect, write this below: I choose restraint. Let's keep going, because the next lesson reveals a hidden place most men overlook, but a woman never forgets when you notice it with care. Number 5. Notice her hidden places. Let's talk about the places most men never think about, folks. Not because they do not matter, but because most men are too focused on the obvious. They rush toward the places they already understand, the places they think will create desire fast. But a woman remembers the man who notices what others overlook. One of those places is the inside of her elbow. It sounds simple, almost too small to matter, but that is exactly the point. It is delicate. It is unexpected. It is not a place most men approach with attention. And when you notice a hidden place like that with patience and care, you are communicating something powerful without saying a word. You are telling her, I am not following a script. I am actually paying attention to you. Picture Raymond, 54, a restaurant owner from Nashville, dating Claire, 48, a divorced physical therapist. Claire was confident but guarded. She had been around men who knew how to compliment her but not how to notice her. One evening they were sitting on her porch after dinner, talking quietly while the summer air cooled down. Claire reached for her glass, and Raymond gently touched her arm. He did not grab. He did not rush. He simply held her arm for a moment, noticed how relaxed she was, and placed a soft kiss near the inside of her elbow. Claire smiled, not because the gesture was dramatic, but because it was unexpected. It made her feel studied in a gentle way, not consumed. That is the difference, my friend. A woman does not only want to be wanted, she wants to be noticed. There is a big difference between a man who looks at her body with hunger and a man who sees her with attention. Hunger alone can feel common. Attention feels personal. This is why hidden places matter. The inside of her elbow, the soft bend of her arm, the quiet spaces most men ignore. These are not about technique, they are about awareness. They show her that you are present enough to move slowly and curious enough to discover her without turning her into a checklist. But let me be firm about this. You only move into these moments when she is already comfortable with you. If her body is closed, if she is pulling away, if the energy is not mutual, you stop. A man with real strength does not force tenderness where trust has not been invited. He waits, he reads, he respects. When the moment is right, Small gestures can create a deep emotional impression. A soft kiss there can surprise her nervous system because it is not what she expected. It breaks the routine. It tells her that intimacy with you is not rushed or predictable. It has patience. It has curiosity. It has restraint. And folks, restraint is attractive because it shows control. A man who can slow down does not feel desperate. He does not need to prove anything. He lets the moment unfold. That kind of calm makes a woman feel safer in her body, safer in the connection, and more willing to soften around him. So notice her hidden places with respect. Do not make it theatrical. Do not act like you discovered some magic button. Just be present. Let your attention be quiet, warm, and intentional. The places most men overlook can become the places she remembers because you approach them differently. If you understand that real intimacy lives in the details, write this below: I notice deeply. Stay with me because the next lesson shows why patience in your touch can create more desire than rushing ever will. Number 6. Touch her with patience. Let's slow the whole room down, folks. A patient touch is not weak. It is not timid. It is not a man hesitating because he lacks confidence. Patience is control. Patience is awareness. Patience is the difference between a woman feeling approached and a woman feeling understood. Most men touch like they are trying to reach the next step. Their hand moves too fast. Their energy gets too hungry. Their mind is already racing ahead instead of staying with the moment in front of them. And my friend, a woman can feel that. She can feel when your touch is present, and she can feel when your touch is only trying to get somewhere. This is why patience matters so much. When you slow down, you give her nervous system room to decide. You let her body feel safe before asking it to feel closer. You show her that you are not rushing past her comfort. You are honoring it. That alone separates you from the men who think intimacy is something to push forward instead of something to build. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." That is the energy of a grounded man in an intimate moment. He is not frantic. He is not controlled by impulse. He is steady enough that her uncertainty can settle around him. A woman does not soften because a man is impatient. She softens when she senses that he can handle closeness without losing himself. A patient touch says, "I am here. I am paying attention. I do not need to force this. I can enjoy this moment without demanding the next one." And listen carefully. Patience also means permission. If she leans away, you stop. If her body tightens, you slow down. If she seems unsure, you give space. A mature man does not treat silence as consent. He pays attention to her comfort, her breathing, her eyes, her posture, and her willingness to stay close. That kind of awareness is not soft. It is disciplined. This is where Stoicism becomes real, not just something you quote. Self-control is attractive because it makes your strength feel safe. A man without self-control makes desire feel dangerous. A man with self-control makes desire feel steady, warm, and trustworthy. That is what creates deeper connection. So do not think of touch as a technique. Think of it as communication. Your hand on hers can say, "I am with you." A slow embrace can say, "You do not have to perform." A gentle pause can say, "I care more about how you feel than how fast this moves." These are the messages that stay with a woman because they are not loud. They are felt. And folks, patience does not kill attraction. It often deepens it. When a woman realizes you are not rushing to take, she becomes more able to give. When she feels you respecting her pace, she stops guarding herself so tightly. That is where trust and desire begin to meet. The slower pace lets her relax into the moment, not because you demanded closeness, but because your calm made closeness feel truly natural. The man who touches with patience is not trying to win a moment. He is building a memory. He understands that a woman's comfort is not an obstacle to intimacy. It is the doorway into it. If you are ready to let discipline guide your closeness, write this below: I move patiently. Keep watching because the next lesson enters one of the most vulnerable places on her body, and it demands more respect than most men understand. Number 7. Kiss her stomach gently. Let's handle this with maturity, folks. Her stomach is one of the most vulnerable places on a woman's body, not because it is simply sensitive, but because it often carries emotion, insecurity, memory, and the private story she does not show the world. Many women may feel confident in public, strong in conversation, and attractive in the way they carry themselves, but when it comes to this part of the body, there can be quiet hesitation. That is why a man must never treat this moment casually. A gentle kiss here is not about rushing toward desire. It is about telling her without words that she is safe, accepted, and not being judged. If she allows you close to that part of her, she is trusting you with more than skin. She is trusting you with a place where she may have carried shame, comparison, or fear for years. Picture William, 54, a business owner from Austin, dating Karen, 49, a yoga instructor who seemed calm and confident around everyone. Karen was warm, elegant, and comfortable in most situations, but she had once admitted to William that after having 2 children and going through a difficult divorce, she did not always feel beautiful in her own body. One evening, after months of trust had grown between them, they were close, quiet, and unhurried. William did not make a big speech. He did not try to convince her with loud compliments. He simply paused, looked at her with tenderness, and when she welcomed the closeness, he kissed her stomach gently with respect, not hunger. Karen relaxed because the gesture did not feel like pressure. It felt like acceptance. That is the difference, my friend. A careless man makes a woman feel examined. A grounded man makes her feel cherished. One looks for what he can take. The other honors what she has allowed him to see. And let me be very clear. This kind of closeness only belongs inside mutual trust. If she is unsure, you stop. If she pulls away, you respect it immediately. If she seems uncomfortable, you do not ask her to explain herself like she owes you a reason. A mature man understands that her comfort is not a barrier to intimacy. It is the foundation of it. The stomach is tied to vulnerability because it is hard to hide when real closeness begins. It is not the polished version of her. It is not the public image. It is the real human, unguarded woman. If she lets you see that part of herself, your job is not to perform. Your job is to make her feel that she does not have to tighten, hide, or apologize for being human. Folks, this is where subtle attraction becomes powerful. When a woman feels accepted in the place, she secretly worries about something inside her, softens. Not because you used a trick, not because you found some magic spot, because you gave her a rare feeling. You made her feel desired and respected at the same time. So approach this with patience. Let your touch be calm. Let your energy say, I am not rushing you. Let your presence say, I see all of you, not just the parts the world praises. And let your restraint prove that her trust matters more than your impulse, because that is where real closeness becomes memorable. That kind of tenderness can create a memory stronger than any dramatic move. If you understand that gentleness can carry real masculine strength, write this below. I cherish softly. Stay with me because the next lesson moves to another deeply sensitive place where confidence, trust, and restraint must work together with calm, mature awareness and steady, grounded respect. Number 8. Trace her hip bones. Let's be careful here, folks. Her hip bones are not a place for impatience, ego, or careless hands. They are close to one of the most vulnerable parts of her body, which means this kind of closeness has to be earned through trust, comfort, and clear mutual desire. A mature man understands that the closer he moves to what feels private, the more disciplined his energy must become. Most men hear hips and think only about physical attraction. That is exactly why they miss the deeper point. For many women, this area carries both confidence and insecurity. It can feel feminine, sensual, and powerful, but it can also feel exposed. So if she lets you near that space, she is not just allowing touch, she is allowing trust to move closer to the edge. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." In this moment, bravery is not rushing forward. Bravery is having enough self-control to slow down, read her comfort, and honor the pace of the connection. A man ruled by hunger is not free. He is controlled by impulse. A man ruled by discipline can be close without becoming careless. That is the kind of masculine strength women remember, because it feels rare in a world where too many men confuse access with entitlement. Tracing her hip bones, when the moment is right, should never feel like claiming territory. It should feel like attention, slow, gentle, aware. You are not trying to create pressure. You are communicating that you notice the shape of her body without judging it, that you can appreciate her without making her feel like an object, that desire can be calm and still powerful. And let me say this plainly, my friend. If she stiffens, you stop. If she pulls away, you respect it. If she looks uncertain, you slow down or ask. There is nothing weak about checking comfort. In fact, it is one of the strongest things a man can do. A woman does not lose desire because a man respects her boundaries. She loses desire when she feels his need is louder than her comfort. This is where Stoicism becomes real. Self-mastery is not only about controlling anger, money, or words. It is also about controlling the pace of intimacy. A man who can pause in a charged moment shows that his character is stronger than his appetite. That makes his presence feel safe. And safety, when combined with attraction, creates a deeper kind of closeness. Do not make this mechanical. Do not act like you are following a script. The point is not the movement itself, and it never was. The point is the attention behind it. Your hand should communicate patience, not demand or pressure. Your pace should communicate quiet respect. Your energy should say, "I am here with you, not ahead of you." Folks, a woman knows when a man is present. She also knows when he is mentally rushing somewhere else. If your mind is already chasing the next step, your touch will feel empty. But if you are fully inside the moment, calm, grounded, and responsive, even a small gesture can feel intimate. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is connected. So treat her hip bones with restraint and care. Let closeness grow from trust, not pressure. Let desire breathe instead of forcing it to perform. A woman who feels honored in vulnerable places will remember the man who made her feel safe there. If you believe real desire should never outrun respect, write this below: I honor boundaries. Stay close, because the next lesson shows how one steady touch on her lower back can make her feel supported in a way words often cannot. Number 9. Hold her lower back. Let's talk about a touch that says more than most men realize, folks. Holding her lower back is not about pulling her where you want her to go. It is about giving her a quiet sense of support. Done with care, it tells her, "I am here. You are not carrying everything alone." Done carelessly, it feels controlling. The difference is your intention, your timing, and your ability to read her comfort. A woman's lower back often carries tension. Long work days, family pressure, emotional weight, the constant need to stay composed, all of that lives in the body. So when your hand rests there gently, not gripping, not pushing, just steady, it can make her feel grounded. It is a simple gesture, but simple does not mean small. Sometimes the smallest steady touch creates the deepest sense of safety. Picture Harold, 58, a retired police officer from Tampa, dating Denise, 52, a hospital administrator. Denise was strong, polished, and used to handling everything herself. One evening at a charity dinner, she looked tired but kept smiling for everyone. Harold did not interrupt her or make a show of concern. As they walked through the crowded room, he placed his hand lightly on her lower back, guiding her through the noise without forcing her pace. Denise leaned into him for half a second. That small lean said everything. She felt supported without being managed. That is what many men miss, my friend. A woman does not always need a speech. She does not always need you to solve the problem. Sometimes she needs to feel a calm presence beside her. The lower back touch, when welcomed, communicates that kind of presence. It says, "I have got you," without making her feel weak. It says, "I am with you," without taking over her space. But listen carefully. This touch must be respectful. If she steps away, you let your hand fall. If she stiffens, you do not tighten your grip. If she is not comfortable, you stop. A grounded man never uses touch to claim control. He uses touch to offer steadiness, and he only offers it where it is welcome, when the moment truly needs it. There is a quiet attraction in this because women often respond to emotional safety before deeper closeness. When she feels that your strength is calm, not demanding her body can relax, that relaxation is not weakness. It is trust. And trust is what allows intimacy to become more than a moment of attraction. It becomes a memory of being cared for. Think of a slow dance. When a woman leans back into a man during a slow dance, it is not just choreography. It is a signal that his presence feels stable enough for her to release some tension. That is the energy your touch should carry. Not ownership, not hunger, support. Folks, the lower back is powerful because it sits between strength and vulnerability. It is close enough to feel intimate, but it can also be protective when done with restraint. A woman remembers the man whose touch made her feel safe in a crowded room, calm after a long day, or steady when life felt heavy. So hold her lower back like a man with discipline, light enough to respect her freedom, steady enough to offer support, warm enough to make her feel chosen. That is the kind of touch that does not need to announce itself. It simply stays in her memory. If you understand that real strength supports without controlling, write this below: I offer steadiness. Stay with me because the final lesson brings all of this together and shows how to make her feel cherished in a way most men never learn. Number 10. Make her feel cherished. Let's finish this with the truth. Most men never learn, folks. A woman does not remember a man because he knew a few places to touch. She remembers him because of how safe, seen, and cherished she felt in his presence. The kiss, the whisper, the steady hand, the slow pause, all of it means nothing if the energy behind it is selfish. This is where the whole lesson comes together, my friend. Her body is not a puzzle for you to solve. It is not a shortcut to getting what you want. It is a living map of memory, emotion, tenderness, hesitation, strength, and trust. If you approach her with impatience, she feels taken from. If you approach her with attention, she feels chosen. To cherish a woman means you notice more than the obvious. You notice when her shoulders drop because she finally feels calm. You notice when her smile is real and when it is just polite. You notice when she leans closer, and you notice when she needs space. That awareness is what separates a mature man from a man who only follows desire wherever it pulls him. And let's be clear, cherishing is not worship. It is not putting her on a throne while you forget your own value. A Stoic man does not lose himself in a woman. He stays grounded enough to love with strength. He gives warmth without becoming weak. He gives affection without becoming needy. He gives attention without begging for approval in return. That is why presence matters more than technique. A woman can tell when you are performing. She can tell when you are trying to get a reaction. She can tell when your touch is driven by ego instead of care. But when you are fully there, calm, respectful, patient, and steady, she feels the difference. She feels that you are not just looking at her, you are with her. Make her feel cherished by slowing down. Let the moment have space. Do not treat every silence like a problem to fix or every touch like a door to push open. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause. Look at her. Let her breathe. Let her feel that she is not being rushed into anything. That kind of patience has a quiet masculine force to it. Make her feel cherished by respecting her boundaries without taking them personally. If she says not now, you do not sulk. If she pulls back, you do not punish her with coldness. If she needs reassurance, you do not mock her for it. You stay steady. That steadiness tells her your desire is disciplined, and disciplined desire feels safe. Folks, this is the deeper psychology. Many women are used to being wanted. Fewer are used to being cherished. Being wanted can feel exciting for a moment. Being cherished reaches deeper. It says, I value the whole woman, not just the parts that create attraction. I see your softness, your guarded places, your tired places, your playful places, and I still choose to be present with care. That is what makes intimacy unforgettable. Not speed, not pressure, not some perfect move. It is the emotional imprint you leave when she realizes she can relax around you without losing herself. So if you remember anything from this lesson, remember this. A woman opens most deeply to the man whose strength does not threaten her softness. Be that man. Move with patience. Listen with your body and your mind. Respect the pace. Let your touch speak care, not hunger. When she feels cherished, she does not just remember the moment. She remembers you long after the silence returns. So folks, let's bring this lesson together. Real intimacy does not begin with rushing pressure or trying to force desire. It begins with patience, presence, and respect. From her neck to her wrist, from her collarbone to her lower back, every meaningful touch should tell her the same thing. She is safe, seen, and cherished. The value of this lesson is simple, my friend. A strong man does not use closeness to take. He uses it to connect. He moves with discipline, reads her comfort, honors her boundaries, and lets trust lead the way. If you want deeper lessons like this, built for men who want to understand women with maturity, confidence, and stoic self-control, consider joining the channel as a member. Your support helps us create more powerful content for this community. And if this video helped you, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss tomorrow's lesson. Thank you for watching, folks. Stay strong, stay patient, and I will see you tomorrow.